Hello, this is Howard with the town of Portola Valley. We'll get started with the BPTS meeting in several minutes here. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the June Bicycle, Pedestrian and Traffic Safety Committee for Portola Valley. I'll begin on the first item of our agenda, which is to call to order and roll call. I am Ed Holland, I'm committee chair.
Kevin Welch.
Pat Beenan.
Angela Hay.
Caroline Vertonghen.
Thank you, everybody. Just to note, the meeting will be subject to a firm adjournment at 9:15 to keep everybody punctual. Item 2 is our spot for any oral communications and things for items that are not on the regular agenda for the meeting. I'd like to take a moment here actually to say a very big thank you. For those of you who are not aware that Howard Young, our Director of Public Works, is leaving Portola Valley, I would like to say thank you for the, well, at least 10 years, possibly 12 that this committee has been extant, for all the assistance and the work that he's done for us to support this committee's efforts and initiatives. And we are very sorry to see you go and wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. I'd like to invite other committee members to make a comment, if I may, please.
I would like to say a few words. I don't know, I was actually shocked when I heard this at the town council meeting the other night. Howard is pretty much the local historian besides Nancy Lund of our town. He knows more about every sewer system catch in this town. He knows where all the electrical lines are, all the utilities. But as far as I'm concerned, he's one of the best person I've ever met in my life. Great working with him, and I hope maybe he can reconsider. Thank you.
Oh, I would like to say something.
Go ahead, please, Pat.
Thank you, Howard, for all of the things that you've done over the years. You've always been there. When we've gone to the corner to check out the intersection, you've just shown up. Every time we requested your presence, you're there, you're interested, you're informed, and it's the truth. You know everything about Portola Valley. I wish you the best. You're a great person, and have a very fond place in my heart for you. Take care.
We have some of the nicest roads, some of the nicest sports fields around. Thank you very much, Howard, for all the work you've done.
Same thing, I cannot repeat. I would like to repeat everything that the members said. I was one of them who wanted you as the manager because you know this town in and out, and we could always count on you. So we're very sad to see you go, but all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I sense some very heartfelt comments, and I completely agree with what's been said. So, right. Okay, without further ado, we'll move on to, I know, Mary, you have something you'd like to bring up, and then I'll introduce Mr. Belka.
Yes. So just wanted to bring everybody up to date, if you haven't, of the status of the sheriff's, the Sheriff's Portola Valley Commissioner. It's previously been called the Police Commissioner, so we're struggling a little bit with the term. The Gary Nielsen has been doing it for the last 8 years and has been asking for a replacement, and he's found himself a fabulous replacement in the very wonderful Kevin Welsh. So the other reason why it's important to bring it to this group is during that meeting in which it was approved as a position and during the town council meeting in which it was approved, and the job description was basically okay. The suggestion was made that Ed Holland would be willing to be his assistant. So that makes it and part of the job description, number one item is to attend regular bicycle, pedestrian, and traffic safety committee meetings, which means that it'll be easy for you. One thing that's done before you start. And the other thing is the Emergency Preparedness Committee. So it would provide a liaison between these committees and the Sheriff's Department. And it's a resource for residents, somebody who has a connection. So we're setting up that connection. And I would actually ask you to consider it being on the agenda next time to review the final job description. So everybody knows and has gotten some input into the job description. So we have but other things that are included in the job description so far are the speed trailer, the contract discussions with the Sheriff Department, traffic and parking situations, support to residents who need assistance with legal issues that are affected by the sheriff, and monitoring public events, South to Tots, bike races, PV Palooza, et cetera. So it's a pretty big job. And we're still taking nominations for a name. I've been tempted to make it do everything, like a second mayor, but I think it's important we hone it down to not safety just, but relationship with the Sheriff's Department. So I'm working right now on the sheriff's part, on making sure that the sheriff's office is, and I hope I have a date to go over this in the title with everybody, so we can get it done by the time of your next meeting.
May I ask a question at this point? I know we discussed a little by email.
You can do
Yeah,
clarifications.
clarification, whether the position has a specification within the general plan. I know we talked about that a little by email.
We worked pretty hard on the general plan, and maybe I missed it, but I've read every word of the general plan and have not seen it.
Yeah, I was just concerned that any flexibility we were thinking of might be blocked out by that, but if it looks like there's nothing there as a
Never been
specification.
officially, it's never, I mean, I've done every way I know how to search on the website, and I don't find anything about the police commissioner or the,
Okay, oh, thank you. That gives us some leeway then to,
so it's a little piece of history that I don't want to, I think it's really important that we don't lose it.
thank you, Barry. Just FYI, I'm considering postponing our meeting for July. I will be out of town at that time. I don't know about anybody else, whether you want to go ahead, hold a meeting without me or reconvene in August.
What about a special meeting? We can reschedule the meeting as a special meeting and then find another date.
Yeah, possibly. I'm going to be out for 5 weeks, so
Oh,
I think it's okay to skip a meet. I think it's okay to skip a meeting.
does that upset your timelines at all for considering the appointment?
I think, you're not going to be here. Kevin's going to be doing the job anyway.
Yeah.
He's been doing the job anyway for the last 4 years. So, that's.
I need some time off. At that point, I need a few weeks off also.
Are you leaving?
No, I just want to go out of town a little bit.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, well, we can revisit that. We have. Yeah, man, well, we can discuss at the end of the meeting, which is our usual, discuss when the next meeting is. So let's do that then. All right, thank you, Mary. Oh, we have two hands up. Let's take the first one. I don't know a name, but your number, last number digits are 3056. Go ahead, please.
Hi, it's Dana, Ed. Can you hear me?
Only just.
Yes.
That's much better.
Much better. It's Dana Breen, 4680 Alpine Road. I'm really calling up.
Oh, we lost you again, I'm afraid, Dana.
This better?
That's great.
Better. Moving in the other room. I'm not.
Sorry, lost you again. Dana, while you sort things out, I'd like to switch over and let Christy go ahead with her comment. Christy, go ahead, please, very quickly.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to thank Howard for his being with the town. He's been very responsive to my inquiries regarding traffic and everything. You know, when there's a lot of water coming down the hills and clogging of things, he gets people out there and gets it done. And this really concerns me that he's leaving, and I think we need the history to go forward with our next arena cycle of 7 years. So I'm really sad he's leaving. We're all shocked, and we'd like to see him stay. On a second note, I think there should be a July meeting. There's a Hawthorne meeting on 6/13. This affects pedestrian traffic and bike safety, and I think skipping July is a mistake. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
Can you hear me now, Ed?
Yeah, go
Dana?
ahead. Try again, please, Dana.
Virtually saying the same thing. I think this decision about Howard leaving is delusional. I object to the process, and I want the council to reconsider. And I mean, this really speaks to a really dangerous, I think, process in the future. In it so much that I don't think we even need a government anymore. If we have people making decisions like this without hearing from the residents and the people, then, you know, kind of what's the point? So I think Howard needs to be reinstated. And I think the people of this town need to be heard and listened to. And I also want to see you guys lead. I mean, a lot of the chairs of committees are going to lead in this because it's just inappropriate what happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. All right, let's go ahead. Our final oral communication is from Ted Selker. Ted, would you like to introduce yourself? If you can speak at the podium so that everyone online can help you,
Here,
please.
this is comfortable. Here, maybe I can even just pull this
Oh,
over.
perfect.
Hold on, let me pull it
I have a PowerPoint I've printed out, so there's copies. You can have one if you like. I'm Ted Selker. I'm a resident of Palo Alto. I've lived in the Valley since 1981 on and off. I spent 10 years as a professor at MIT, so I was gone for a while. I have a friend who cares about bicycling safety as much as me, only he's rich. And I had this dream many years ago that rural roads are kind of neglected as people live all over the place in places like Cola Valley, but it's difficult to, you know, roller skate, go for walks, if your car breaks down, you take up the whole road. And as a bicyclist, I probably, ride, I don't know, several thousand miles a year. You notice it especially in places like Cola Valley, and especially, of course, when there's pelotons, which I am never part of. But what I just want to talk about is that shoulders for rural roads could make a big impact for all of these constituents, and when you're up on Skyline, there's a drop off of like an inch on the edge of that road for much of it. And there's almost no impediments to adding, yes? I'm not speaking loud enough. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. There's almost no impediments to using a little bit of the space next to it. There's, I've looked at it very carefully, and there's one place where you're going to move the road over a little bit, so you don't have to make more retaining walls. There's 2 telephone poles along the route from Old La Honda to 84 that I remember. And so I started thinking about it, and I got a friend to say, hey, I'll throw in enough money to put shoulders on that road. And so I kind of looked at all of, and you'll see it on that printout. I looked at all of the recorded bike rides, and one can find bike routes like, Stevens Creek Canyon that have, 200,000 rides on Strava. But the ones that I have highlighted are the ones that I, have authorization to encourage to be improved. And quite frankly, a lot of these other roads, Kenyatta Road, I'm not so sure is very dangerous. Maybe other people will disagree. But Old La Honda, almost no cars on it. Skyline, people are driving their Maseratis 100 miles an hour. I've had 500 motorcycles go by me while I'm in a little some sort of a cabal peloton, I guess I'll call them. So I've kind of highlighted that this would be a nice demonstration. When I started thinking about this, I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great to make, a 3-arm thing? We have some sort of outreach, some education. I was talking beforehand about how critical education is, and then get communities, all over the place to prioritize shoulders on rural roads. But what's surprising is since I started this, which is now a decade, talking about this, there is a bike plan to put shoulders up there. And when I've gone to Caltrans before, they made this bike plan, and after, they refuse to prioritize. And they have no ability to take money from outside and refuse to have any money from outside, of course, prioritize. They said, look, if the communities want this, is there a question?
Excuse me, for those people attending online, please ensure that you're muted because we are getting some background noise. Thank you very much.
What they said at first was, well, there's no money. Then I said that there's money. Then they said, well, if you get authorization from a city, we'll prioritize it. So I went to this Mid-Peninsula something or other.
Open space.
And I presented there. Burlingame, several cities were like, this is fabulous. I went to Palo Alto because I go to the bike meetings quite often, and I got them to write a letter of support. And then Caltrans says, nah, that's not enough. What we need is some city to do the engineering and supervision. And I said, whoa. So I went back to Palo Alto. They said, you can't give us money to do that. We have too many priorities of our own. So here I am at Portola Valley saying we have money for the engineering as well as supervision. And I mean, I'm not, we're not giving out money, but I can have money to make shoulders on both sides of Skyline from Page Mill to at least 84 and maybe to I'd love it to Kings Mountain. That would be my favorite. And it's not that that's the only thing that we would want to try to do, but that is the beginning. And it's taken me so long that my patron doesn't even take phone calls about this anymore. He will do it, but he doesn't believe that I'm going to succeed. I also talked to one of these people these consultants that help people get permits in the valley. And she said, well, you can't possibly make any policy change of any sort or make anything happen without hiring one of us. That's the basic $500 an hour. And I said, well, that's not the way I do things. I do things because they are meaningful and valued. I think, Skyline is one of our very special scenic, heavily used roads. It has fast cars, motorcycles, and bicycles on it. It's dangerous, part of many people's bicycle rides. Many people avoid riding up there for that reason. And they ride in places that probably are even, cause congestion as well. So I, I've put together some of these things in a slide deck that you see. But I know you can see it right there. It's in your hands. And they've not, I don't have a HDMI here, and so there's some pictures of some of the things you run into on Skyline, not too much. And I've talked to a lot of people, including you guys, and Howard was one of the most responsive people I talked to, by the way. I'm just wondering what if any process we could put together to evaluate whether Portola Valley would be a home for the supervision of creating this.
Thank you. That's very clearly stated. Any comments from our committee? I know we're taking this a little differently as our oral communication, but it's kind of where it fits in our agenda.
As far as the scope, this may be a little bit out of line. You might want to do a segment which is on the county bike plan, which is from 92 to where there's a trail that leads onto Sawyer's Creek Trail. It's a very short bit of road, but there are very big trucks that come on that bit of road from the dump in Half Moon Bay. And it can be scary as scary. And it just connects a little bit because the San Mateo County has a bike plan of things where, you've probably seen it, where they want to put the class 3, class 1 bike plans. And I know you want to do it on top of, on the top where Portola Valley comes up to the Skyline Drive. But I think it's more, the Caltrans and the unincorporated San Mateo County really have more of it. The first thing I would do is try and get it on the county bike plan. That's what I would try and do.
Okay, thank you.
So, maybe
I just have one thing to say. We changed our name from Traffic Safety Committee to the Bicycle Pedestrian Traffic Safety Committee, right? And the reason we did that to put bicycles up ahead of the other traffic. In Portola Valley, thanks to Howard again, we have the best bicycle area to ride in. I would recommend maybe, just like Angela was saying, go someplace else, because I don't think we have the authority. We might have the authority to recommend as a scope of influence into the project, which I'm all for. And I know how bicycles do suffer in the traffic world. So I think I can leave it up to Howard to find out. Maybe you have more information of where Ted could go to offer his services and
So
revenue as well.
should I respond to these things or not?
A quick response. I do have a hand up with a question from another participant online. So if you have a
Yeah,
quick comment.
the reason that I'm here is because I have explored many avenues. And what I need in Caltrans' statement to me is a place that would allow me to pay for them to do the engineering and supervision. And Palo Alto's unwilling. I could go to Redwood City. You guys have been one of the places that cares about bicycles. It's in your brand a little bit, as you described. So, that's the reason I'm here. Now, I will have to give up at some point. I mean, and, you know, and not this, you know, a few $1 million will not be used for this. But, you know, I've been told that I have to have a real municipality, you know, behind it. And so that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you. I'll take that with a comment of my own in just a moment, but I have a comment online to exercise first. Jerry, do you have something to say?
Yes, on a different note, I want to thank you, Ed Holland and Kevin Welch, of course, for helping with the Portola Valley Palooza that was held last Saturday, June 1. Both of you with your background in pedestrian and bicycle and traffic safety. We even had some equestrians come by the Palooza. Your help was magnificent. And I want to also thank Sergeant Taylor. These sheriffs that came through all day into the evening were responsive and positive and gave us positive feedback. Everything ran smoothly thanks to the support of this committee as well as our San Mateo County Sheriff's Department. And as chairman of volunteers, I can't thank you enough. On a second quick note, I want to just echo everything that's already been said to Howard Young. Kevin said it all. That's how we feel in this household. But I know we're not the only household. If there's anything that can be done to have you remain, Howard, that is our first choice. And thank you. You've always been there for everyone. And we're so appreciative. Our town sparkles because of you. And you are a magnificent person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Returning to Mr. Selker's ideas and requests for assistance with this, I think it's a very noble project. It's a very good idea. I can see exactly why it would be beneficial to riders on Skyline, having avoided that for 10 years myself, that route, because it's just so frightening. And I'm a pretty bold cyclist. Let's see what this committee can do by way of helping to provide a letter of recommendation or some other means of support. And Howard, I'll let you make a comment about this in a moment, but I think the one thing we could do is form a subcommittee to look at this and see how we can, what initiatives we could provide, say letter of recommendation or whatever format is necessary to provide the level of support that we're able. We're not an executive committee, but we can recommend things to council. We can look at liaising with people like CCAG and those other bodies through the town to see if there's any more legs that we can give this, or maybe wheels, I should say. Do I have any comments from the committee on that initiative?
There's only one other jurisdiction, and they probably don't like this, but the Bay Area Ridge Trail, you know, that's a gravel trail that people can bike on along Skyline. They are one of the jurisdictions that could do something, okay? So there's the Bay Area Ridge Trail and there's the county for unincorporated San Mateo County are probably the two that you're most likely to get any traction out of. And the other thing is June the 12th, this I don't think applies. If you can prove that you're saving car traffic along Skyline, there's a grant cycle coming up and there is an initial meeting on June the 12th on Zoom, and that is on the CCAG Bike Committee minutes, which are on the county website.
Thank you, Angela. Just thinking off the top of my head, which is where most things come from. Do you think alternative infrastructure would be a good subcommittee already existing to look at this, or should we set something up specifically for it?
I just think we'd send a letter of support. I think that's all we can do, quite frankly.
Well, so we can
I think
certainly-
we should send a letter of support and say, because one of the things you need is a lot of letters of support. You know, having been on the receiving end of reviewing grants for things and seeing how other towns get little bits of bike path put in, because I'm on the CCAG committee for the county. I would say that the ones that get grants have lots of letters of support. And so I think if we can write a letter of support, that would work. I also think that you have to get stakeholders. So stakeholders are things like bike clubs, bike committees, get them to send letters of support.
I will not spend another 10 years on this. Okay. And this idea of a subcommittee, very exciting. Love that. And this is a reverse grant. This is not a grant you're.
No,
applying for.
I understand,
But
but you've
so
got to get the
I'm just-
process. The process
I'm
has to.
happy to do your process. I'm happy to do it however you'd like.
Okay, okay, let's take it from there. Let's,
I know Howard was.
yeah, Howard had a comment and I do see we have one hand up from an online participant. So, which order would you like to take those? Howard, you go first.
A couple of thoughts come to my mind on this. Obviously, I believe this is not in our jurisdiction, but is this county or Caltrans right of way?
Yeah,
Is it both or?
it's confusing. I mean, I had an accident up there where 3 jurisdictions came. So, but it's a state road. It's Caltrans, but they want, like, they want the support of the communities around for this to be, to go forward, which makes sense.
Okay, understood. Since it's not in our jurisdiction, I think the right way to go is it's going to be very hard to get involved in any technical aspects or right-of-way aspects because it belongs to Caltrans or the county. However, the committee can decide to provide support, and if that's what I'm hearing, then that's something that goes to the committee, goes through the council liaison and to the council to show support. So I think what the committee decided from what I heard is the right move. I only wanted to state it to find out in whose jurisdiction it is, and because that's who really the driver is going to
Yeah.
be. They make all the decisions.
There's another move afoot. Caltrans spends billions of dollars on putting in paid lanes on freeways. There's a paid lane that they want to put on the intersection with 101 and 92. And at our CCAG committee, we said that money could be better spent for bike infrastructure. If we can stop that they think that they'll make 92 bridge less congested by putting in an extra lane. I'm not clear that that's true. I think if you can get some of that money, and there's certainly a move afoot to take some of the money that's going into putting freeways from Caltrans. I mean, I know you say that money's not a problem, but it's going to cost more than you think. And money makes people do things.
Well, it hasn't yet. But in terms of the jurisdiction issue, Caltrans was very firm that, they said first that letters of support would make the impact. And then when they got letters of support, they said they wouldn't, and that what they needed, they would support, being able to do it as them supervising a municipality doing it. Now, I agree with you, Howard, that it's surprising that they would ask or think that a city should be where this engineering gets done. I mean, it doesn't have to be in your house. It has, it has to be that you guys approve it. And I think it's complicated. I mean, I think you're probably right on this, that we're going to have to, as some subcommittee, and how do we present it to who? But it's ridiculous if it's just impossible.
Thank you. I think we should consider proceeding with the idea of at least making a recommendation and come back and reviewing that at whenever our next meeting falls. Probably an action we should, beg your pardon?
I think
We
it's a
can certainly-
county. I think it's a county issue. I think you have to go to the county bike committees, and there is a county bike committee for unincorporated San Mateo County, and there's also the CCAG committee gets presentations all the time.
Yeah, and I'd like to stay focused on what we can do here.
A
as-
letter of
as our
support. I
actions.
think that's all we can do. I think all we can do is a letter of support.
We form a subcommittee to write that letter, because then we can converse between ourselves. Who would like to volunteer to stand up? for the
I'll
subcommittee?
draft a letter of support.
Okay, thank you. And, I'll work with, okay. Hmm? Ultimately, yeah, we'd come back to this committee to be approved and then sent on for the to the town council to be sent out officially. All right, thank you for that. One more, and then I'd like to take one online comment.
Okay. On the shoulder that you're planning on, thank you. On the shoulder that you're planning on adding on Skyline, is that all going to be officially bike lanes?
I think that's to be determined. I like, you have, it has to be 4 feet wide for it to be a bike lane. And the question is, do we want it wide enough so that it's a breakdown lane for cars? I think that there's a good idea there. I think you have to be a little careful because you don't want it to be something that encourages cars to do even rowdier things. Probably some dots. I mean, the engineering details will have to be worked out.
So would you say adding a shoulder, it's going to vary as far as what that looks like along Skyline?
No, it'll probably be consistent along Skyline, but the question is, I think that I'm not going to presuppose the design right here, anything specific. I mean, there are numbers that people say, which were the way I came up with, I went and looked online and found how much it costs to make a lane, including acquisition costs and so on. And that's where we came up with our numbers. But, people will have their opinions, and we'll have to work through it and get real numbers together and real design.
Well, one of the reasons I ask is that I suspect that there's a certain amount of bicycle lanes that Caltrans is targeting. And it might be a reasonable approach on your end to be going to Caltrans as far as adding official bike lanes, because it might be much more motivated than just saying, we're going to widen the shoulder.
Well, actually, yes. And I have, there's a nice document they put together about their plan. It's a long-term plan, and it does include bike lanes. And I'm not just, I'm happy to take in any input and figure out what is appropriate and what can be done. We'll take it from, whatever, I have the letter of support at the Palo Alto Road. If you want, I can share that with you if that helps. Anything, including, some offline discussion would
Yeah,
be.
definitely stay in touch with me. I think, if you beg my pardon, in the interest of time, we've taken up a majority of our meeting time with this. That's fine. But I would like to move ahead. And
Thank you
thank
for
you very
coming
much for
again.
joining us today. I do have two hands up. Rita, you've been very patient, had a hand up for a few minutes. Please go ahead and make your comment as briefly as possible.
I just want to say, Ted, thank you for bringing this to our town. Anyone that has been outside when the noon ride is coming through, it's hundreds of people. We're known around the world as a town that is sensitive to bikes. And we have 2 people on the dais right now that I believe bike every single day. So this is the place. And Howard, I'm just, between being extremely mad and extremely sad for our town. You are just an exceptional human being. And Ted, as this moves forward, if something doesn't work out for Howard, please hire Howard to move this forward, because he is an exceptional human being and has incredible skills that our town desperately needs, and is a good person. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Mary, you have a hand up.
Just wanted to say that I will do my liaison report. And I think what he's asking for, if I understood, was us to take a leadership position in this, which is something that is cheap. And we have the wherewithal to do that. And that we should be really quite grateful. And so I was going to sort of present it that way to the town council. everybody knows this is a really important thing. Is a real erodent, it was a real enhancer. We can do this in the Portola Valley way as opposed to putting in a paved.
Yep. Well, we could use our model for enhancing the shoulders, perhaps as one
Enhanced shoulders is what I,
proposed, as an example that you can take along to. Yeah, those things. So, all right.
but that would fly with us. That would fly with us.
I see a hand up from Christy Corley. Please make your comment very briefly.
Yeah, Ted, I applaud you for taking this on, and there is many deaths up on Skyline, and it makes me really sad every time I hear of it. I do know in Marin County, Ray Lorber worked on a bike lane. It took him 10 years, but he created it, and people are using it widely now. So I can direct you to him as to how he was successful, and just give me a call.
Thank you. There's 11 deaths since COVID, basically on Skyline.
All right, thank you, everybody. I'd like now to move on as quickly as I can through item 3, which is approval of our minutes from the May meeting. Those minutes appear to me to be an accurate and true representation of our meeting time. And I propose that we approve them. Do I have a second?
Yes, I second.
Second. So can we take a vote on approving the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. Aye. Very good. Unanimously carried. Thank you. Sergeant Taylor, please go ahead with your sheriff's report, item 4 on our agenda. And thank you for sending through the materials very promptly this month. I know we have both sets of, I think it's March and April. Is it March and April stats? Thank you. Go ahead, Patrick.
So we have right here is the April collision stuff. We also had no collisions in April. We have March citations. We have 11 in March, 13 parking citations for a total of 24 of the month. April, we had 31 citations. Parking was 14, giving us a total of 45 citations. I said no accidents, and I gave you the breakdown for the different citations. Most of them were in Willowbrook for parking violations and on Alpine Road. And we've discussed the reasons in the past for those areas. And then a lot of our moving citations, as you can see below, are all over the town. So last month was like this cell phone awareness month. So we had a lot of cell phone citations, as you can see. So, but any questions you guys have?
I'll put that over to the committee. Any questions from
You said you were going to ask the deputies to catch more people for speeding. We still see people speeding up and down Alpine Road. Did you ask them?
Yeah, I directed I asked them to do speeding citations. I can't, I'm not in the car with them, so I can't tell them to actually what to write for, what to stop them for. But I know last month was the cell phone was a month, distracted driver awareness month. So that was kind of the focus for most people. I have asked them to do citations in the area to enforce speed laws, and they will do that.
I know it's outside our normal time frame for your consideration of these numbers, but last week I was not witness to the accident, but there had been an incident on Portola Road between, I think, motorcyclist and a car was also stopped. Do you have any information on that incident? I know paramedics were involved.
I don't have that with me right now. I can look it up and respond to you guys in email if you want.
Thank you. I think that was Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday last week. Do we have anything further for Sergeant Taylor? If not, I'd like to move on quickly.
I would like to thank you for offering services to the town for the Palooza. It was great, fantastic. I heard that was between like 1,600 and 2,800 people that came through the town that day on Saturday. I talked to several officers and they were fantastic. So thanks a lot, Patrick.
Yeah, the officers responded to me. They had a good time, they said, so great support.
Yeah, absolutely. Second Kevin's comments. Thank you. All right, let's move on to a public works update from Howard. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd just like to thank everyone for their comments. So I am appreciative and have a lot of gratitude to the town of Portola Valley. So thank you everyone for each of your comments and everyone online too. But it's with respect and appreciation and gratitude to the town and its citizens. Thank you. I'll go through my report right now. So we did do some resurfacing on Westridge Drive from roughly about Cervantes down to Alpine Road. The majority of the work has been done. The overlay portion, there is some other incidental work, some testing, some utility work that we're going to do also. We did indicate on the signs, I believe it's we have an August deadline date or completion date, but we're going to be done well before that. So there weren't really any major issues. I think we worked with a lot of the residents there and provided information. We are preparing for striping this week. So we put an outline on Westridge Drive already. We call it cat tracking before the striping goes down. And thank you very much, Ed, on short notice to come out as the chair. We've done this before where after we resurface the street and we look at the layout before we put the striping down. So we invited Ed to come and take a look at the striping layout. Even if it goes back the same, or if we're narrowing lanes or widening lanes, we look at that thoroughly and we invite the chair out too. So see other items, the right of way, we've done we started right away mowing on Portola and Alpine roads, and we're going to slowly complete that to meet the fire department requirements also. We also started trail mowing and open space mowing also. And I also do want to thank, we've had a couple of large events here in the last several weeks, the Horse Fair and the PB Palooza. And I know our crew, Scott and Justin, did prep the site, but the feedback I got from them is so positive that the sites were left. The volunteers did a great job of cleanup. There was almost nothing to do. The grounds were left really, really well. And that says a lot. So I just want to thank the organizers and the town volunteers that were involved in both those events. So, and I know Kevin was involved too, because we had some communication over the weekend. So thanks for getting the more janitorial supplies. I think that is it for my update. We didn't have any major issues now that we'll talk more about the Rosati Field parking, but now that Ford Field is opened a little bit more because the contractor was using Ford Field parking lot to stage while we were doing Westridge Drive, but the bulk of that work is done, so it is available for use. So, and we'll continue that below. Thank you very much. I'm here for any questions.
Caroline, go ahead, please.
Great, thank you. Any update on the crosswalks and particularly those lights that I mentioned? We have two opposite lights approaching the school that at one time used to function, and it's to warn speedy car drivers that they should slow down. At one point they were working and didn't know what the status is. Is that something that we can activate again or not?
I'll look into that and get back to you. Is that okay?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. I do see one hand up from Rita. I apologize if that was related to a previous item and I missed it, but go ahead and make your comment now. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. With all of the people that we have coming through town, going to Alpine Inn and of course using Ford Field, there's a lot more people actually coming through the town, not just parking under the do not park here signs on Arastradero Road, but so many of them don't have front license plates on their vehicles. And I'm wondering if the sheriff's department can make a focus, do a study, give tickets for a month and focus on this. I don't know if the town would receive any money from these tickets, but that would also be nice for the town to receive money from these tickets, and we'd get a boatload of money. So if that could happen, and I also want to mention about Westridge. Thank you, Howard. This is years and years overdue. I no longer feel like I'm on a roller coaster when I'm leaving my house, going to Alpine Road or coming from Alpine Road. Jim and the team have been absolutely wonderful in communicating with us every day. And it's been nice. And so thank you for coordinating that and getting that done. But I would like to know about the front license plates. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. That is something that I am passionate about myself and do regularly bring up with Sergeant Taylor and the police activity. So thank you for keeping that current. Anything further on the public works matters, or let's move on to our regular committee business. Item 1, I had an update on a request for an update on the local roadway safety plan. This is relating to the CCAG safety initiatives. Angela, it seems like you're prepared.
The people who did the plan, they've got one for the county. They acknowledged that they've been to our bike committee, and their recommendations are that each town has a planner. They'll help them do one if we don't have one, but they want to organize, educate, coordinate, fund, research, and plan. And I did some sort of a table of contents for what we could have in our plan. I don't know how far you are with it, Howard, or where we are, but I think we need to have a handover or see what you've got. I'd love to meet with you and sit down with you sometime this week. I think as far as the county's concerned, they've got their summary, which is good enough for them to submit grants. It's going to be hard for us to get some of the grants just because of the equity areas and being near transits, busy, if we compete with Millbrae on transit, we don't have it.
But this would put us in a position better than we were before, when we were automatically discounted from some things because we simply didn't have it.
That's right. That's right. And there is a grant coming up. And the meeting about the grant is on June the 12th. If we can prove that we can save cars by, I don't know, having an electric bus for Portola Valley or something, something like that, we could apply for a grant. And it may be worth just trying to do something. One of the things is to put in charging stations. We've got charging stations. We're not going to be the highest priority, but we're not going to be the lowest priority either because, but anyway, the meeting's on June the 12th on Zoom to see what but it's for the Clean Air, it's from the Clean Air Act people. So that's a grant that's coming up. But I think we can just cobble together a plan fairly quickly. We do need some consent, and I do think we need a public meeting to decide what our vision and goals want to be. I've got a lot of questions, like, do we want green bike lanes or shoulders? That's that kind of stuff. And I think that needs public input.
I can certainly make that a special agenda item for our next meeting.
Yeah.
If we think that would be timely to do that at our next meeting, or hold till
I
September?
think we should have the public out, a public meeting when the schools are back. So I think we should have an evening meeting where we have like little spots, and we can have posters, and people can put, I like this, put a green spot if they like something, and a red spot if they don't like something, and just get some public input.
Maybe we can work on that with the town picnic.
Oh, we could do it at the town picnic. That's September. Yes.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah, that's perfect timing. That's perfect timing.
Okay, thank you. In the interest of dwindling time, let's keep moving. Is there any report from our Safe Routes to School subcommittee? That's you, Caroline.
No, we're still working on it. I missed the Trails Committee, but I appreciate Howard put forward that we were going to give priority to the safe routes to school, trails, roads, connections, so it all is bundled together. I assume that Howard is still, that's still the priority. Nothing has changed there. We have all the trails that are connecting on Portola Road, on Alpine Road. They connect us to all the major places, to town center, to the schools. And I believe we're going to work on that, to upgrade them, to repair them.
Yeah, we can talk about that offline. I know that there was a map that went out. I can't recall if the Safe Routes to School was on that trail map or not, or if that is going to be forthcoming. So I'll touch bases with you after the meeting here to get to discuss that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rita, I see you have a hand up. Go ahead with your comment, please.
Sorry, it was stuck up. So sorry about that.
Never mind. Thank you. Item C is revision of Windy Hill parking restriction. Howard, have you any more comment about the proposed signage additions?
No, that is just something that's in the queue right now to execute.
Okay, thank you. Item.
Sorry, could you clarify?
So this is to increase the range of disallowed parking to protect the traffic on the bend and in Portola Road between Windy Hill driveway and Grove Drive.
And how we're going to do that? We're putting more signage?
Add, I think, 2 or 3 extra signs.
Okay.
Following on from that, item 6D is Alpine Inn Golden Oak parking concerns. I don't have anything specific from that. Are there any comments?
Oh, yeah. Kevin told me that there are no parking signs stored on town property somewhere. Can we take one of those no parking signs, Howard, and just put it at the bottom of Golden Oak?
Howard, over to you.
I think the no parking issue is still being worked on. There were some previous decisions not to put signs or barriers right there because it was a public right of way.
Yeah, that was an old decision. And, you know, the lots of side of the road is nearly always a public right of way where you have a no parking sign. So I don't think that's an issue. I mean, I think you could just stick up a no parking sign there, and I don't think any of the neighbors would be upset. I don't think the only people who'd be upset would be the people who park there.
So at this moment, as I understand, it's being managed. We've been keeping an eye on it. And I know the sheriff has also, and our crews have, and also the restaurant has. I haven't seen, but once again, that's during business hours. I haven't seen a lot of parking there. I know that they clean up that area also. So there was a decision that came through the council a while back ago that indicated that we were going to not put no parking signs there. It could be revisited, but once again, we do keep an eye on it. The sheriff does know about it. They have done enforcement, but we haven't seen a lot of cars parked there.
Howard, I have a question. What would it take to get Chevron on the roadway where the curve is so that bikes know it's okay to take that lane when they're going, if there's cars parked there, they need more room? Is that something that
Thank you for coming.
we could consider, or how could we go about getting, I know we talked about it before, but nothing's ever happened.
This is by Portola and Alpine, or as we looked into?
Portola Road by Windy apartment, the curve.
Excuse me again?
The curve, when people are on Portola Road, where they're parking across the street from the Windy Hill parking lot. That curve Yeah, exactly.
So we can look into that. If the committee wants us to take a look and investigate the possibility that we can do that.
Yeah, because it just seems like it would be so much safer for everyone. Excellent. I'd appreciate that if that's something that you could do.
Well, I think the committee has to probably look at it and have it on the, agendize it and determine if we want to expend time and resources on that.
For agenda in the future. I would love to. Okay, thank you.
Caroline.
Kevin, did you have a comment?
Back to Alpine Inn parking there on Westridge. I can look at that. I've seen a couple of people park there over the last maybe 2 months. Not an awful lot, but if I see it increasing, then I will go ahead, put a temporary no parking sign up. I'll watch it.
Actually, I've seen some cars parked on Alpine Road where there's no sign at all. It's in the curves. There's a lot of space beyond the shoulders, so they're really on the mowed land. And so, right now it's 2. We will have to watch it, take pictures and
Yep.
report it, because if 2 show up and nobody does it, pretty soon we will have 4.
Gonna monitor, follow the trends and just go from there. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's closed off, I think. Chris, do you have a comment? I see you have a hand up.
Yes, I'm wondering about the crosswalk at Alpine Hills and Golden Oak. It's been a 3-year to 4-year request for safety at that crosswalk, since there is a bus that stops right there. And I counted 7 kids walking across the street. And those cars come around the corner from Ladera very fast. Even though the sign says 35, they're way above 35. So as you know, we've almost been hit going across the street in the crosswalk. And I heard that you were going to get flags and put them up. And I'm wondering where that stands. And I'm wondering where the lighted crosswalk stands as well. This is a safety issue. This is an issue for the safety of the children. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Angela?
I've got the flags, I've got the posts. The one question I have, does anyone know the manager of Alpine Hills so that we can ask, can we affix one of the flags to there? They have a no parking sign there, I think, or I don't know, some parking sign.
I think I can get you a name.
Yeah, because if we can do that, if we can get permission to put it, I've got everything ready to put them up.
Yep. Thank you. All right, next item under consideration is somehow is so important I managed to add it twice to the agenda, which is the next public access working group for the Hawthorns Committee falls, I think, on June 12th. Is that correct? Pat, are you aware when the next Hawthorns
Yes.
meeting?
The next and the final meeting for the Hawthorne group is Thursday, June 13th.
13th, thank you.
13th, 6 to 10 p.m.
Yep, and I know the Portola Valley Ad Hoc Committee is planning to have a meeting on the 10th with the Karanowski and those guys. So if you have any more comments you'd like BPTS to add to the Public Access Working Group request for information, please send that to me. Anything relating to Hawthorns or any further thoughts, let me have those comments before the 10th, Monday the 10th. Thank you.
It's at Post. At Peninsula Open Space Trust, their headquarters on El Camino.
So do we duplicate our letter that we submitted before? Just to-
We can do that. I don't think there's any need to do that. But if we have anything to add to it or any other thoughts you have, this is our last opportunity to augment, amend, or make any changes.
Because there have not been any changes since our
No.
last.
I don't believe so, but
No, there have been no changes.
okay, thank you. And finally, we have anything from our Alternative Transport Infrastructure Committee this month? I put you on the agenda every time as per request from the committee, but
It was about doing the planning. Okay, we need two plans. We need our local plan, but we also need a vision for how we want to do bicycle and pedestrian circulation in the future, right?
okay.
And that's another plan, really, separate.
So it's like a plan and then a mission statement.
Well, then
for,
we've got two
yeah.
boxes to check. Do you have a local bike plan? Yes. Do you have a local safety plan? Yes. Okay. But both of them need to have a vision with buy-in from the town as to what we want the town to look. And I've got questions like, you know, do you want green paint or not?
Yeah. Let's work on, like you say, get some feedback at the town picnic. I
Yeah.
think that's a great
Yeah.
idea. Okay, thank you, Howard.
Just wanted to chime in on the county LSRP also. They did approach us they're coming out with a report. There is a couple of sentences in Portola Valley there, but because it didn't go through the process and the message, we want to make sure that any wording comes from the town. So they're on their timeline to produce a report.
I've seen the report. They had it at the CCAG committee. So I had.
Our comment is basically that any comments are taken from our existing documents and so we advise them to use it was a quote from the circulation element, and I'm going to read it off. Within the town circulation element, it indicates that the goal is to provide for safe and reasonably expeditious movement for local residents and minimize the disruptive influence of through traffic. So that's what we presented to them as a possibility to use because the circulation element was approved by the town. Thank you.
Great. So we need to get that into our plan and work with them on it because otherwise they'll just write the plan for us, which they want to do, but we want to have some input into it.
I think on the plan, I think we made some decisions at previous meetings already, but I think they're trying to fill in the gaps with some items and we're basically defaulting to documents that were actually approved.
Yeah, but we have to have it we have to have it with a nice cover. We have to have it looking nice. I'm telling you, you know, eye candy is something that gets you grants. You can't just say it's our existing documents. And it may be, it's just the words from the documents cut and pasted into something with a beautiful cover and put in a nice PDF. But that's what we want.
So certainly I can I want to work with you on potential grants because there are still grants out there that we that we can apply for.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And we need to have we need to have a document that we can pick up that's nice like this, laid out beautifully and say, that's our plan.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Last item on our agenda is events for 2024. We do have a firm date now for Zots to Tots and the Town Picnic, which is Saturday, 21st of September. I'm already trying to rally the troops on both the police department, who I think are already lined up with that date to give us the support we need for the Zots to Tots race. And I'm also already in discussion with the CERT team and the emergency preparedness guys for support for the race. So I think we are starting to get a good plan together. I hope to do that at least as well or better than we managed last year, as I think we set a benchmark there for safety with some. But if anybody has remembrances or suggestions of particular sites or activity or particular parts of that process that need augmentation, then I think we can discuss those on or offline. They are not Brown Act limited discussions. So, okay, unless there are any further matters arising, I'd like to just take this opportunity to thank everybody, including Howard and Mary, for attending, and then declare the meeting adjourned. Our next.
I do have a comment.
You have a comment. I beg your pardon. Oh, I have two comments. I saw Caroline first. Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to make sure we discussed the next meeting.
Yeah, I'll do that at the agenda, but I can do that beforehand. Christy, go ahead. very quickly.
Yes, I'm just wondering if we have a grant writer that we're sharing with Woodside. I believe the council passed the finances for that, and maybe that would expedite some of these grant writing opportunities to gain finances for safety goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we aware of a shared grant writer or something?
There was in the budget a shared grant writer, 1/3 cost of a shared grant writer with the Woodside Fire Protection District.
Thank you. So to discuss dates for our next meeting, our next regularly scheduled meeting would fall on July 3rd. I will be out of town. I don't know if everybody else is here and would like to carry on with the meeting. There's no reason
I'm
not
going to be
to.
out of town as well.
Be out of town. And then, yeah, and it's July 4th weekend. So I would propose picking up again on our next regularly scheduled date, which would be August 7th. I shan't be returned until the very end of July anyway. Can we agree on August 7th or do we have a problem?
August 7th.
I'm all for August 7th.
Okay, that will be our next meeting will be August 7th, 2024. Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Ed.